First, we have Constable Mike Beard, Precinct 4. We have District Attorney Brian Middleton. County Attorney Bridgette Smith-Lawson. We have County Treasurer Bill Rickert. Our Fort Bend County Sheriff Eric Fagan. We also have representatives from Judge K.P. George's office. Representatives from Precinct 2 County Commissioner's office, Mr. Grady Prestige's office. I know that we also have representatives from Fort Bend Green. Are you here today? Thank you for being here. Fort Bend Heritage Unlimited. All right. Well, today, as we close Black History Month, and sorry, did I forget any elected officials who may also be here?
Commissioner Myers representative.
Oh, a representative from Commissioner Andy Myers' office as well. Thank you so much for joining. Please forgive me. Today, as we close Black History Month, we gather here in a most sacred place, on a most sacred day for a most sacred occasion. Mr. Benjamin Franklin Williams, the first Black state representative in Texas, died on this day in 1886. Mr. Williams is buried here, and it's on his legacy and in his honor that we gather today. You know, I think about my time thus far, and it's been a crazy first 2 months in office. But I tell you, there truly has been nothing that has touched me thus far more than this project that I have the honor of unveiling here to you today. When I reflect on my time as a kid in Louisiana, I think about that 9-year-old boy who grew up in a very small town in Louisiana. Everything I knew as a child was that small town. And what seemed so far and so small to others was everything to us. It's the place where we grew up learning our history, the history of our struggle, and knowing that all that we ever needed, we had in each other. When I think about that and those experiences, I can't help but to think about Kendleton. Kendleton was one of the first freedmen's towns in Texas. After the enslaved African Americans learned of their freedom, 6 families bought land that some have said was barely farmable, and they built a thriving community right here on the ground where we stand today. Buried in the fields behind us are visionaries and people who contributed so much to the community and the country that we hold so dear. They're people like Mr. Benjamin Franklin Williams, the first Black state representative in Texas, the family of the first Black sheriff in Fort Bend County, and so many others whose legacy is that of hope for a brighter future. It's in this town that some of the earliest Juneteenth celebrations took place. This is even the place where Barbara Jordan's father, the Reverend Benjamin Jordan, preached. Sadly, this site where we stand, this sacred hallowed ground, is not reflective of the stature befitting those buried here and the rich story of which they are part. Many of their tombstones have been forever lost. And so it is now our responsibility to pay due homage. And today I am honored to announce an initial investment of $4 million in parks funds in erecting a long overdue African American memorial in Fort Bend County. This memorial will commemorate the Black experience, not only here in Fort Bend County, but in Texas, and really be reflective of the stories from Kendleton all the way to Congress and beyond. Visitors to this site will be able to experience and learn about the celebration of freedom in a Juneteenth plaza, about the Fort Bend County's legacy of convict leasing and lynching in reflective spaces, and the pioneering innovations that inspire so much hope. This will truly be a remarkable space known the world over. Now, I want to introduce the architect who is taking the vision of this space and actualizing it into a site befitting of its stature. To tell you more about the elements of this project and how he has designed it, please allow me to introduce Mr. Damian Hines from Hines Architectural Design.
Can everyone hear me? Good morning. I first want to thank the commissioner, thank Fort Bend County, thank all of our guests for being here. There are some projects that, as an architect, before your client says 2 words, you already say yes, right? And it becomes a project about passion. For our team, this is about non-renewable assets in our community. We need to preserve them, we need to celebrate them, and we need to pay reverence. And that's what the investment from the commissioner and the county will do. Our small part in this is amplifying the message about this asset, that it exists, and facilitating visitors locally, regionally, nationally, globally, to be able to experience this in a complete park. And so what are the components? The components are the historic cemeteries. We will have a series of trails that connect the assets to a Juneteenth plaza. Within that Juneteenth plaza, there will be a significant monument to the African American experience in Fort Bend County. There's a story that I've been fortunate to communicate to the commissioner and a handful of fortunate listeners who are willing to listen to me about the African diaspora and how the African diaspora is here in Fort Bend County, and how is that translated. So within our design, I won't get into the architectural stuff, but it's truly a remarkable story about perseverance and strength. And again, we will take the existing assets at the cemeteries within this existing site, amplify that by introducing a reflecting pond, amplify that with the Juneteenth Plaza, the memorial, and at some point very soon, amplify that with a learning center. So we hope that our contribution you will find of value, and we're trying to create a place that allows you to celebrate again, pay reverence, and tell the story about freedom here in Fort Bend County.
And I'll talk about it a little bit more at the end, but we will have some community engagement sessions where you will get an opportunity for Mr. Hines to truly give you the full story that serves as the foundation for the design of this site. So thank you so much, Mr. Hines, and your entire team. I also noticed, please forgive me, Miss Linda Coleman, president of the Missouri City and Vicinity chapter of the NAACP. Thanks so much for being here. All right. Now, we would not be here today were it not for the hard work of many people over the years who have picked up the mantle to maintain these grave sites and keep alive the memories of those buried here. It's been something that has happened over many generations by many generations of family members and community members. I was introduced to these cemeteries by our next speaker, who took interest in this site during a research project of his own on Methodist elected officials. Congressman Pete Olson invited me here last summer, and I made the commitment then that the county would made the commitment then to ensure that the county does its part in ensuring the long-term upkeep of these cemeteries. Please welcome Congressman Olson to make a few remarks.
Good morning. Good morning. And this is a blessed morning to be alive, isn't it?
Yeah.
Today, we are making history in Fort Bend County. As Dexter said, I retired from Congress in 2021 and started writing a column local paper called Fort Bend Strong. Doing some research on that column, I found a name we all know and revere: Benjamin Franklin Williams. That man is buried right there by that white poster board, those tombstones. That's his final resting place. I find out what that man did. His first 40 years of life, he was a slave. A slave. He becomes free. As Dexter said, that man became the first minister recognized by Texas in the Methodist denomination. That man was our state rep in Austin for 3 terms. That man got 3 votes to be the powerful Speaker of the Texas House. That man became the first Postmaster General in the history of Kendleton, Texas. As Dexter said, I came out here last February, and I was surprised, angry, disgusted, and hurt by what had happened to that man's grave, every grave in this park. I couldn't find it. I found his son's grave right beside that. I couldn't find his tombstone. I used my hands and dug around. I found it. Through weeds, fire ants, in a small stake. We had let that happen here in Fort Bend County. And so, working with the Exchange Club, my church, some volunteers, we came out here on Juneteenth to clean up some of the brush, take it back for Fort Bend County and for Kendleton. That man, we had 3 events like that. Juneteenth, Martin Luther King's birthday, and this past President's Day celebrating Barbara Jordan's birthday. One man has been to all 3 of those events. Dexter McCoy. He deserves a round of applause. And the first time he came out was for Juneteenth. He looked me right in the eye and said, if I'm elected to be the county commissioner, I will fix this within my first 100 days in office. Well, Dexter lied. He did that in less than 60 days. So thank you, Dexter. This is a great day, a celebration of the heart and soul of Fort Bend County. We have a lot of work to do, but together we can fix this problem and make Fort Bend County the heart and the soul of America. Thank you all very much.
Now, we're all here today in a big crowd that is amassed here But this is work that's been going on for a very long time. I made reference to the convict labor and leasing, and I want to recognize a special person who's been keeping up the drumbeat on that over in Sugar Land and here in Fort Bend and all across the country. Miss Chastity Olenu Alade, who has really made sure that those folks are remembered and that their legacy is never forgotten. We also have folks from SOJES here with us today. Thank you so much for your efforts as well. Now, this is not a new effort, and we are not the saviors of this work. There are family members, there are community members who have done this work over years to the best of their ability with very little to no support from their county. I want to recognize our final speaker, who is someone who is a direct descendant of people buried in this cemetery behind us. He's also a leader in this community that serves as the anchor for this work moving forward. Please help me in welcoming the Kendleton Mayor, Mr. Darrell Humphrey.
Yes, protocol has been established. I didn't know I was going to be speaking this morning, but I did want to make sure I was here to be a part of it. One cleanup project didn't know about and missed out on it, and I kind of hold myself accountable for that. I mean, Mr. Olson kind of took away some of my bullet points, but I'll just say a few things that's left. You know, about Benjamin Williams, you know, to find out my uncle really told me 15 years ago about the cemeteries and all that. So me and my wife and my daughter, which was only like 3.5 and before, we come out and we walk out, and of course the ladies was kind of scared to walk in the weeds, but we walked out there and saw the cemetery out there back 15 years ago, and also the one here with my great-grandmother Sarah and great-grandfather Hewan Humphrey. That's right here behind us. I want to thank Fort Bend Heritage Museum for keeping us up and keeping us educated on a lot of things that's happening here with Kendleton, Fort Bend County, as well as my family history and others. You know, Mr. Crump texts me every week about something. He told me more about Mr. Benjamin Williams, so I kind of was up on a lot of things that he done for us, postmasters, but state representatives and things of that nature. Also want to thank I know Commissioner, that's kind of almost your job, but being here in Kendleton, I want to thank the workers for Fort Bend County over there, the parks. Also, the head of the parks and right there, and Miss, I lost my head, but right there, I want to thank them for being a part of Dexter's ideas as well as vision to kind of make this thing done. When Dexter told me about this, and I said, I can't believe he went out of his way to celebrate this day on my birthday, which is the same birthday as Benjamin Williams. So I appreciate that. But, you know, I'm looking for the cake and balloons, but that's okay though. We'll just take what we have. And Mr. Pete Olson, you know, it takes, no matter who knows about something, it always takes somebody to keep their hands on the wagon and keep it pushed and in front of everybody. I want to thank Mr. Pete Olson for keeping this alive and well, and Mr. Commissioner Dexter for jumping on board and hands-free. I mean, they had an event here last week, and I'm coming out here thinking they're just going to talk about things. I come out here in my slides, my shoes, and all that, and get out there and they pulling limbs. So, you know, country boy, I just pulled, our sleeves was already up, there's a short sleeve, but I pulled them and just went on there and worked along with them. But they had such large group of people out here that had no connection to Kendleton other than the love that they have in their heart to come out here and help us work. Miss Smith, I mean, everybody, Miss Smith and her husband, you know, my uncle, all these folks right here was out here. You know, also went the Black Cowboys Museum, which hopefully will be sit here in Kendleton before long and get all these things started. You know, it's just a little jokey. I was walking up and a few people walked up to me and say, thanks for joining us out here. And I'm looking like, joining us? This is my hometown. You're joining me out here. So I just want to thank everybody, and I appreciate you giving me an opportunity to stand in front of this beautiful crowd here and all the representatives and all the people that would help make this project come to fruition. I just want to thank y'all from my heart to y'all. I love y'all all and all the things you're doing. Workers, keep up the good work, because those guys are going to be the ones who are going to keep this place looking nice and all. So we want to make sure the hands-on folks keep it going. Appreciate you both. God bless you all for coming out.
All right. Now, there are many people who made today possible. First, I would like to thank my colleagues on Commissioners Court for their support of this initiative. I also want to say that much credit is due to my predecessor, former Commissioner Ken DeMerchant and his staff, who initiated the conversation about a memorial here, and I would like to thank them. And the folks who've really been shepherding this through, I want to recognize Mr. Darren McCarthy, our Parks Director, and Miss Gwendolyn Clemens, our Special Project Manager. I'm a man of faith, and I believe that our being here is no accident. This is going to be a multi-phase project, which will require a great deal of community input and support. In the coming months, we will announce community engagement sessions to help us imagine the programmatic aspects of this memorial. And it is my hope that by this time next year, we will be well on our way in breaking ground on this most historic and monumental location. So please, please, please be on the lookout for that. I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart, from this young country boy who could never have imagined being in a place like this, in a space like this with folks like you. Thank you so much for being a part of this and invested in this mission. I'll be available afterwards for any questions folks may have, but thank you so much. Please do take an opportunity to visit the grave sites here at the the Newman Chapel Cemetery and the Oak Hill Cemetery further down. Elected officials, if you would join me here for a group photo. Thank you. Okay.